Good morning, everybody. Hey, welcome to this Money Monday. I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great weekend. It's a little rainy day here in Austin, Texas. We got a cool front to move through. So it's kind of nice. We definitely needed the rain, but hopefully you all had a great weekend. Things are rocking and rolling here. And I wanted to focus a little bit today on giving you guys in our WCN membership and our coaching students a little bit of a preview on the tape that we uploaded there to Basecamp last week, at the end of last week, and then what we will be going through much more further in depth tonight on the Note Night in America webinar as we're going out there. But you guys have the availability. We upload this tape to make offers, make your offers directly through me. If you see something you like, great. If you have questions on an asset or two, I wanted to open that for you guys since you've had a couple days to review it. I've seen some people talking about the tape, and others kind of asking a few questions of me directly about what's available and pricing. Like, I don't have price points on this. They didn't give me any pricing. It's a hedge fund we've bought from in the past. They sent me the tape, said, hey, this is our newest offering. And so what I thought I would do is just dive in and kind of share what's going on with that tape and give you a bit of a preview. Now, it's honestly kind of two different tapes, all right? One is there's a lot of reverse mortgages on this tape. How do you tell if it's a reverse mortgage? Well, it's pretty easy because when you look at the P&I payments, the principal and interest payment column, you'll see all sorts of payments, but you'll see a big chunk of, let's say, $1. And that's the sign that it's pretty much a reverse mortgage. Now, the mass majority of those reverse mortgages are in God's region in Florida. So you definitely want to be careful about condition, definitely putting eyes on the property. If it's vacant or occupied, that obviously will help determine if you drive and take a look at it or not. If it's occupied, doesn't mean you can't take the asset back because the borrowers are supposed to, or the surviving heirs are supposed to either pay off the mortgage. That's what they're supposed to do, is pay off the mortgage, pay off the house to the underlying bank. And if they haven't done it, well, then it's going to the foreclosure process. A lot of these don't have heirs that are fighting on them, as far as I can tell from what I've seen so far, doing initial due diligence a little bit over the weekend. But anyway, as always, I wanted to open it up for questions, comments, concerns to you guys, because you're our coaching students, to help you make better offers come Tuesday, Wednesday this next week. I'd like to get offers in by Friday or sooner so I can actually get them submitted into the lender. We'll be making a chunk of offers, but I always love opening the floor to folks out there who are looking for more deals to make offers on. All right. Anyway, let's dive in and take a look at the tape and go from there. Now, obviously, mapping it, I mapped it. It's 284 assets. There's a chunk in New York I did map so that I could get the rest of them out there to you. So let's dive in there and take a look at the spreadsheet. All right. So here we go. Hopefully, can I get a thumbs up from somebody that you can see my spreadsheet? The Zoom has been acting a little weird differently since they tweaked up some things here. Thank you, Sterling. I appreciate that, buddy. All right. So to give you a bit of an idea, the servicer on these are land home. Here's the loan number, the master ID, delinquent status means they're all active. Delinquent status on the majority of these, if you click on the download, the filtered thing here, you can see active BK, active foreclosure, current, pre-foreclosure, and some blanks. Okay. But the active bankruptcy means it's a bankruptcy payment plan, Chapter 7, Chapter 13. I don't know until you look at the rest of the tape. Active foreclosure means that it's in the process of being foreclosed on. Okay, some sort of legal has been filed, hopefully for the most part. It's not at the beginning. Hopefully it's somewhere in the middle. Current, hey, guess what? They're on time. They're making payments. And then pre-foreclosure means they're in default and the lender hasn't started the foreclosure process, so you'd have to start that and you'd be at the beginning of that foreclosure process. And that obviously will vary depending on which state it is in and how long that foreclosure process is in for that state. Okay. Now let me do this because I know we'll probably get a few questions. I'm just trying to pull up stuff online here from the YouTube live stream on this. It's always nice when we get a bunch of tapes in. You know what I mean, guys? A lot of assets. There's people out there saying, "Oh, you're not seeing tapes. We're not seeing assets." And I'm like, I'm seeing a lot of stuff. It's just amazing that some people don't know how to market to save their butt, but that is what it is. Okay. I saw a recent webinar, somebody talking about the state of the note industry. There's a bunch on there that I did not A lot of comments in there I did not agree with it because it comes from people that aren't marketing. So anyway, that's my personal opinion. That and $4 will buy a cup of coffee, maybe at Starbucks. Okay. But anyway, you get the servicing date. This is a little bit, I think this is when it was actually boarded with land home. That's what I think that is. The due date, that's the most recent payment due. Okay. P&I, principal and interest, constant. Taxes and insurance constant. You can see what the total P&I payment. So here's a little bit different on this thing. This thing looks like what it is since I've got 12 months here, I don't usually see it labeled this way. Okay. What this usually shows is usually be month 1, month 2, month 3, or January, February, March. So you have basically 12 months of payment history in here. So this is the most recent payment month, second recent. That's what it is. So you can see the amount of payments. Some people have made payments, others have not made payments. Okay. So that's kind of unique, is what that means. That's 12 months of payment history. For those of you who are looking for performing notes, that's obviously something that I would look at. These was cut off as of October 31st, so it's relatively new. A 2-week-old tape. Okay. You see deferred balances. That means like amount added to the face amount of the loan. 234,000 is a lot to be deferred. Unpaid principal balance, that's what UPP stands for. Total balance, okay. I don't think that's necessarily right, but in some cases it is different. Corporate advances, like this number should be a little bit different. This total balance and the UPP, especially if there's been corporate advances. Now, what is a corporate advance? A corporate advance is where the lender has advanced something on behalf of the borrower. This may be forced place insurance. It may be taxes. Those are usually the two most important things as far as what's advanced by the lender to avoid a foreclosure, to avoid a tax sale, or to make sure insurance is on the property. Okay. Escrow balance. This usually means that there's money sitting in escrow. And that means that there's either taxes and insurance money that's been paid on a monthly basis, but it's just been sitting there. Okay. It hasn't been applied to anything else. What will often happen is escrow 2 is if a borrower is making extra monthly payments. Like I'll give you an example. Let's say their monthly payment is $600 a month, but they make a payment for $700 this month. And let's just say it's just they're not paying extra to the taxes and insurance. That $100 will go into escrow in a lot of cases and sit there. All right. Till either A, they've made extra towards A, paying off the taxes and insurance, or B, it goes towards a full monthly payment, because the bank is not going to apply a partial payment to the balance. They will only accept a full payment towards payment. So if a borrower is making $100 extra on top of their P&I payment, it sits there until they've made 6 months of $100 payments to basically have a full $600 payment that can be applied to that. So that's what you see happening in a lot of that stuff. Okay. Accrued interest, that just shows negative interest. Estimated legal balance. Okay. Kind of what's owed in total. The last payment date when the borrower has made a payment, that's going to be critical, obviously, if you're looking for potential debt that you can take over to get refinanced or get making payments on time. Days since last payment, that's important. Last payment bucket, you can kind of see how they kind of rank this as either 120 plus days late, no payments whatsoever, let's see what else is in here. Probably, yeah. So you have to break down 0 to 30 days, 120 days plus late, 30 to 60 days, 60 to 90, 90 to 120, and then no payments whatsoever. Okay. The interest rate on the loan, kind of explanatory. If there's a minimum modification flag, yes or no. When that loan was modified, lien position, they should be all first lien positions. All right. The original term of the loan, whether it's from 5 years to 30 years or 40 years. Remaining term, how many months are left on the loan. Current maturity date, the original maturity date. If there's been BK filed on the borrower, and if the foreclosure was started, which is obviously very important. And then, of course, we see the foreclosure status back here, which we've already seen at the kind of the first couple columns. And then what you see is if there was an REO flag, means it has been foreclosed on. There should be no REOs on this thing. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. And then what you see then is basically 24 to 36 months of payments on this thing. This should be 24-month payment stream. Okay. Sometimes you'll see the borrower FICO score. This may not be bad. Don't know the date for that. I'm willing to bet that's probably the most recent one pulled or when it was originated. Probably actually take that back, because I don't think the lender would be doing a loan for 453 FICO. Okay. So these would be the most updated FICO scores for the borrower. Period one payment count. Let's see, this is what kind of threw me off on that. They have 12 months of payments in here. Oh, they just did the number of counts. Okay. So you see total payment count in the last 12 months. 6 payments, 10 payments, 17, 11. Okay. That's not so bad. Now you get into the borrower's last name, first name, co-borrower, last name, first name. If there's a co-borrower loan origination date, original loan amount, you'll see if there has been any, the original lender on this. That doesn't mean it's the current lender. And then you start seeing more information. Original interest rate, original P&I payment, first payment date, fixed or ARM. Now you get into the property address, city, state, zip, property, county, current occupancy, if it's vacant, owner occupied, or unknown, BKA case number, what type of BK it was, whether it was a 7 or 13, if it's been dismissed or discharged, the filing date for it, the latest property value date. You see most of these are for this year. There's a few in there for 2023, but most of them are relatively recent. Okay. Who did that? Clear Capital or Home Genius BPO. And then you can see if the file's been referred to foreclosure, when it was, if the first legal's been filed, basically the notice of default, the filing date for that, has the service been completed where it's been served, and then you start seeing judgment submitted and judgment submitted date. So basically it means it's going through that process of the judgment's been entered. All right. So there's a lot there, which is really great to help you make more accurate decisions. Now, here's the thing that I would look at. Obviously, you've got some stuff in here that they're current or they're 30 to 90 days. All right. Obviously, after you go through and slice and dice these things up and get rid of the states you don't want to buy in, like New York, I wouldn't want to buy in. I don't live there. New Jersey, if you live in New Jersey, you may want to buy some, especially these vacant ones, because New Jersey does have an expedited foreclosure for vacant properties. Okay. It's the one play there in New Jersey I think is not bad. It's actually taking down the real estate and holding it to go through that foreclosure process, and now you own an asset. I wouldn't go through it if it's occupied, and now you'd have about a 2-year foreclosure process. Okay. All right. But everybody's a little bit different. Now, the most important thing I'd love for you guys to share. Let's see who's on here. So we got Cal, Peter, hey buddy, hey SK, hey Sterling. A few of you guys are currently on here. What is your primary goal? If you think about your primary goal as an investor in the note space, what is it? Now, Cal, I think I know yours. Yours is to either turn stuff into cash flow or to take down some assets that you can get some big checks on that are relatively faster foreclosure states. Am I about right, Cal? Yep. Okay, good. Peter. Now, Peter's down in Florida. Peter still works full-time, right? But Peter, you've been doing fix and flips, and I'd be willing to bet it's kind of the same thing that Cal is, that, A, if you can buy something that turns into cash flow, great, but you're not opposed to going through the foreclosure process to fix and flip some property down there because you have a team. Am I right about that, Peter? Peter said money. We all want to make money, brother. Money, 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 right? Yes, you are right. Exactly. So Peter's not opposed to buying something that he can get at a discount that can go through the foreclosure process, and then if he has to fix it up great or sell at the auction. Okay, great. SK, I think you're looking for cash flow primarily more so. I'm not sure what states that you're looking to buy, and I know that you're kind of in a rural area of Colorado, so I'm not sure what your top 5 states are. Sterling, I know that you're kind of looking for cash flow as well. Stuff that you can either take back and get some decent returns to get them the bar back on track, or if you end up having to foreclose, you foreclose and you make a decent check on it. But we don't want to get into big, heavy rehabs across the country. You're more of a, especially starting off, I would not necessarily recommend a big, heavy rehab right across the country. Something maybe it's paint and lipstick or a little bit of cosmetic, obviously. Hey, Kenneth, good to see you, buddy. You know, I want to ask folks what your big goal is right now. When you look at your buy box, when you're into the note space, what are you really looking for? And if you got a few folks that are watching this on the live stream too, feel free to chime in the chat roll. I am monitoring that on YouTube out there for you. But that's the thing to look at is what makes sense? What doesn't make sense? Okay. Now, like I'll give you an example. When I talked about this tape, when we said there's two tapes. You have a true non-performing list of assets, traditional first liens, 30-year mortgages they haven't paid in a while that you can either work to get modified. But let's talk about dealing with the dead. All right. Let's first talk about our friends. You know, our borrowers were, unfortunately, they have gone to the great beyond. Okay. They have gone and passed on. Now let's look at those. So if we click on these reverse mortgages that are basically a buck, or that's a different spreadsheet. It's really a different tape. Now out of this list, if we look at these, how many do we have on here? I probably should have mapped this a little bit differently. Okay, I'll map it later for tonight. So right now there's 69 reverse mortgages. All right. Now let's do this. So if we have these dollars selected out, $1.69, the dollar store. Now we can go over to these and see which ones of these are current occupied or vacant. And most of these are vacant, right? Vacant, unknown, vacant, unknown. Owner occupied. Well, that means there's probably a co-borrower involved in that. Okay. Now the thing to do on these is say, okay, what do they look like? What kind of condition are they in? Do they have any equity? Are they upside down? And then make your decision off of that. Is okay, does it make sense for me to buy these at a discount? Is it going to take a lot of work? Now, obviously, we all know Florida's going through a bit of a ringer with the hurricanes lately. So looking at what current condition something is. Now, like, here's the thing. Up in Illinois, I wouldn't touch Illinois with a 10-foot pole still to this day. Like, if the states we look at here, there's Florida and Illinois and New York. Well, I know I'm going to get rid of probably 2 of those states. Now, look here. If you live in Chicago, it's a different story. All right. I would be comfortable if I lived in Chicago buying something that I'm a local resident to. If you're an out-of-state investor, just avoid Chicago. It is just the most corrupt place. I got a friend, Wayne, who bought some stuff and was getting a rehab, getting ready to sell it, getting ready to show it, and people moved into the property, and the sheriffs the police wouldn't do anything. It was taking 9 months to do it. They actually had to pay the guy to get the heck out from squatting. Well, you know what he did? He went to another one. So I just avoided those 2 states for the most part. Okay, unless you live there. Hey, Dale, good to see you as well there. So, all right, let's look at these. So that's what I would literally pick these states. Let's just go ahead and delete them off. It's not really worth our time. Illinois, New York. Yeah, see, it's only one reverse mortgage in New York. Okay, there's traditional 30-year mortgages for the most part. So we're just going to get rid of those. All right. Now that we're basically left with just these Florida reverse mortgages, now the smart thing would be go over here and then select these by the ones that had the judgments already done, right? Service complete, judgment submitted. See if we got any judgment submitted dates on these. Nope. So no on blanks, okay? But service completed date. So they're in the process. So let's take it back where they've served. Let's just get rid of the blanks. So now this narrows it down where they're moving along the process, okay? They're moving along the process of going to that foreclosure aspect. Okay, we question here. So Dale asked a question for being late. How did I know they were reverse mortgages? Because they had payments at $1. Going back over to here, when you see P&I constants, when it says $1, it's a reverse mortgage, okay? All right. And there were 69 on this tape that had that $1, okay? All right. And now since we know that there's this legal stuff, now this would make sense. Okay, so then what's the balance compared to the value? Now I should run some formulas all the way across the aspect of it, but we're just going to go ahead and do this here. We're going to insert a column, and this is going to be equity. All right, do they have any equity? So this is going to be the value minus the estimated legal balance. Okay. Go over here, take the value minus the estimated legal balance. Okay. Enter. So now this is a value of 362. The estimated legal balance on this one. So you always want to make sure that your math makes sense, common sense wise. All right. So now if their estimated legal balance is that 262, sorry, 291. Okay, 291 is their estimated legal balance. If it's worth 362, then we know they should have about $70,000 in equity, right? 70,965. So we're just now going to copy that formula the rest of the way down for these that we're looking at, right? Okay. And now we're going to format this so it helps us format these cells so that the ones that turn red we can do it. All right. And then we're going to make these bold. All right. So you see there's only a couple with equity. Most of these are underwater or have negative equity, means that they owe more than the property's worth, which is great. Because that means if there's negative equity, I'm going to bid at the lesser of the two, right? Not the legal balance, but at what's the value of the property as it sits. Okay. Now, obviously, we want to send eyes and ears. We want to order BPO. We want to send somebody to drive by these things. Okay. The great thing is most of these should be vacant, and 1, 2, 3 of our own are unknown, but it shouldn't be too bad. So now, if we look at these ones with negative equity, then we're going to bid. I would bid these at 60 cents, 60, 65 cents on the dollar of the current market value minus taxes up. Now, the ones with equity, they're probably going to want you 80 cents on the dollar of the legal balance, okay? Because there's equity, right? So let's just do this first. Let's go over here and, right, we're going to insert another column, and we're just going to say offering. Now, the great thing, we can go down here to these that are red first. Let's just do this here. Let's just do the two black first, actually. So it's equal to legal balance. Go over here and find the column that says legal balance on these. Now, you can adjust that number if it doesn't make sense. If you see that the value is way below, they don't have equity, then obviously you would adjust it. But for due diligence purposes, times 0.8. All right, so that we've got that. We're going to copy that formula down to this one here. Control C and go down here and copy it to the one that has 9,000. If it's only got 9,000 in equity, now we're just going to figure that as the rest 65 cents because we know 9 grand, 10 grand equity can change pretty fast. So anything really over 20 grand in equities, you do that. But everything else would be 0 points is equal to value times 0.65. Okay. All right. So now we can run that the rest of the way down. Boom. So that's what your rough offering would be. Okay. Now, here's the thing. These are all, okay, the bar is passed on. You're not going to get the bar back on track. Let's just be honest with these. They're dead, right? Your biggest play is basically to foreclose on these things and sell them as an REO or take them back, sell them at the auction, or, rehab them and sell them for more. Just depends if they sell at the auction or not. Okay, so if you're buying these, though, at roughly 65 cents on the dollar of value, you finish the foreclosure, you're going to see, let's just do this here. Okay, so insert, and we'll just say estimated foreclosure profit if you sell it at auction, right? The lesser of the value. So if you're buying at this, so okay, so this is Basically, it's the 20% or 35%. 20% of the legal balance. The difference. That means we're going to overtake the legal balance. Because if you're selling at the foreclosure auction, that's going to be the highest offering you can submit, right? Now, if there's equity that goes above what's owed, that's great. Take your money and run. Just copy these two down. Control C, that same formula down here to the one. Oh, no, we'll just leave that be. All right, question here from somebody. Okay, so Dale, these people, these borrowers are dead. Okay? They're dead. I don't know about you, Dale, but I don't think we can use a Ouija board to get a deed in lieu. Now, if there's heirs, yes, you could get the heirs to sign off it. That kind of dead. A reverse mortgage, maybe you don't. Okay, let me restate this again. A reverse mortgage is given to somebody over 62. Both borrowers in the house would be over 62. They're not making any payments. There's usually equity, and they're either given money monthly as annuity or they're getting a lump sum payment. And they stay in the house until the borrower dies. Okay. When the borrower dies, the full balance of the mortgage comes due. And the heirs can either pay it off, pay it in full, or do a deed in lieu through the heirs. The idea here, though, and what happens a lot of times is the heirs don't have the money, and you're left with one, two, or three people a lot of times in the estate that can't agree on something, or there's nobody left in the estate. Okay. So then you're going through the foreclosure process. Okay. Yeah, that would, that's fine. It's all right. I get it. Like gone. That kind of dead. You're all right. All right. But the rest of this now, we can go over here and figure out a rough profit margin. So the equity is negative 30. So then we can figure, okay, boom, boom, latest property value minus what we offer. And you can see now, this is a sizable chunk here. Let's just highlight these in green. This is not bad, right? 42, 28, 60, 54, 61, 122,000, below what we're offering. Okay. So there's some money to be made here if you've got the money you can hang into, especially with these being in Florida most of the part, being around for a while. It's going to probably take you a year, if not longer a little bit, to take these through, and it'll depend on where they're at in the foreclosure process. Okay. But that's still an opportunity for those in the right spot. So let's look here. So Peter, you're down in Miami-Dade, right? If I remember correctly, it's not Broward County, it's actually Miami-Dade. Let's see here, Peter. What did he say? Yep. Okay. So you've probably looked at some of these. Are probably no. So there's two in Miami-Dade. Okay. Miami-Dade. So let's just narrow it down. So these two here. And Viva La Miami. Let's just look at this one. This one looks like it's a condo. I think I already looked at this. I got way too much open. All right, so let's click on images. All right, here we go. So here's the property. It's a two-bedroom, two-bath condo. They financed 87,500, or is what it sold for in 98. So someone lived in it for a while, right? So it's off market. So let's go back over here. So, I mean, I don't know if this is a good area or a bad area. That's the same listing. Okay. We got some older photos on here, which could be, all right, so let's hit all. So just doing this. Okay, there we go. All right, so this is a different apartment. This is apartment 202, but they're all about the same. 2 bedroom, 2 bath, 13 square foot. Okay. But you can see kind of the makeup of it. They're all going to have pretty much similar floor plans, right? This one might be updated a little bit more. I don't know the condition, but they're all 2-story, 2 bedroom, 2 bath. Yeah, I mean, you get the. I doubt. Let's see, what if they turn this bathroom? Oh, it's got a lot of storage in the bathroom there. Who knows if that's in the other one? But anyway, you're basically approaching this. Oh, look at the nice pool, tennis courts. Hey, not too bad, right? So you have a bit of an idea. So they value this at about $395. If we go back to our spreadsheet, $395. Let's see here. They value this thing $305. Now this value is from September of last year. This could be a nugget for you to pick up something. Obviously, if it's valued at $395, there's not any equity. There's a chunk of equity on this thing. But if they value it at $305, it might make sense to jump on this thing at $200 and see what they counter back at. Now, with this one, let's look at this one. The file's been referred as of May this year. First legal's been filed, and service completion is date. So you're waiting on a judgment now, basically. So this could be something. If you're picking this up at $200, it's worth $350 at least, probably conservatively. That's a pretty nice chunk of change. Now, even if you're paying an investor, let's figure this out. Okay. If you're borrowing money at 200,000 for that, let's just say 210 for your foreclosure costs. 210 times 0.12. Say you got to get 12% interest to an investor. That means a year's worth of interest is 25,200. So you're in at 235, 240. It's still got $100,000 in potential profit on them. That could be a pretty nice little deal to offer. Now, the thing is, with it being in where it's at, the condo, you're going to have an HOA association with it. Okay, but guess what? That HOA fee is going to get wiped out because you're buying the note. If you foreclose, when you buy a note on a condo in Florida, you have safe harbor. So the great thing is, even if there's $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 and you sell it at the auction, guess what? You're going to pay 1% of the original sales price to the actual HOA. If the original sales price was $98 back in the day, guess what? You're paying $1,000 to the HOA. Now, here's the thing. If it doesn't sell at the auction, you take it back. Guess what? Yeah, you still pay $1,000 HOA, but now if you own the real estate and there's any special assessments due to this complex, then you're going to have to start paying this, because that's one of the big things that's really been hurting a lot of folks in Florida. Now, this is only, it looks like it's only a 2 or 3 level story a condo, so it may not be that big a deal. Okay. Yep. A really nice area. Yeah. So this is definitely something that I would put on my radar. Okay. Potentially that one there is not bad. Now let's go another one down here in Viva La Miami. Latest prop up value is 468. This was pulled same time September of last year. They haven't updated this in a while, which can work in your favor, guys. And I think maybe, Pedro, you've seen this one before too, maybe. This one looks like it's on a corner lot. Yeah. Well, maybe not. Let's go back here. 3-4 is a small little house. 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 953 square feet. It's hard to believe a small little property like that would be worth 400,000. This is it in 1901 Northwest. Oh, there it is. Yep, 2 bedroom, 1 bath. 1,000 square feet. Basically, you buy this house at $400 a square foot. That's crazy. It looks like it's been added on though. All right. Near the University of Miami Medical Center. You live in the area. Okay, 33136. Okay. Have you driven by the property? So you look at some of this, there's been some upgrades to this 1901. Look at it, they've done some nice brickwork here. Somebody said some pride of ownership, lived in it for a while. Okay. Probably converted garage. Yeah. Don't think there's a garage there. It was at some point. Nope, but I will swing by today. Okay, good. Anyway, so there you go. I mean, days on market obviously has some yeah, 953 square foot house, the 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. It's valued somewhere around 400 to 473. All right, let's go back. Below 1,000 square feet, that's a little harder sale in most cases, but that's kind of normal in that neck of the woods, right? Okay, pretty common. So same thing over here. Let's look at this if this makes sense. 468. They owe more than that. They owe 5 and some change. You're offered to be at 65% of the 468, which means it's at 304.20. You'd make $168,000, $163,000 by just foreclosing on it if you sold it at auction. Now that's just selling off. Remember, these things have negative equity, so that's just selling it at the value of the property, okay, not the payoff amount. All right, and same thing with that one. Yeah, they submitted the foreclosures. First legal was filed in July, so that means you're probably going to have to hold on to this on both of these till next summer. And the same thing, if you're borrowing $304,000 and you say, I need another, let's just take 10 grand, 315,000 to foreclose times 0.12, then you got basically about 40 grand in holding costs. Okay, so 315 plus 40, 365. Yeah, you got about 100 grand in potential property value if it doesn't need any repairs or upgrades. Okay. Now, this is not including insurance costs on that. You're going to definitely would want to find out what insurance costs would be on something like that. I don't know what it would be. I take that back. You're probably looking at somewhere 10 to maybe 20 grand a year for insurance on that. I sold my last property in Florida over a year ago, and it was like $35,000 for insurance on it. Now, it was a nicer house, worth a lot more than these, but still, you're going to have a sizable chunk too. There's no HOA in that one area. That's the nice area. Now, that's a nice area too. All right, so those could be potentially possibilities for you. Okay. All right, now let's if we go back over here. Remember, these are just this is just the reverse mortgages where we looked at that, where the legal's been filed on some of the stuff. So it gives you a bit of a faster start versus the start to beginning. Okay. Not much difference. I mean, if you look back over here, the rest of these, look at the legal. First legal file date, June. Yeah, June and July. They actually started the process. So that's a good start. So all these are going to take a little bit to take down and go from there. All right. Let's look at something. Let's just see here. Pompano Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Tamarack, Plant City, Bradenton, Florida. That might be a difficulty because Bradenton is near Tampa. Okay, but that's that. Okay. Now let's take it a different route. Let's say you want to, if you're looking to buy some notes that you could potentially turn to cash flow, let's take it a different route. Okay. It would not be targeting $1 payments, right? We would want to select everything besides $1 payments. Okay. Now these are ones that are in active foreclosure in a lot of cases. Now, what we could do is go over to this bucket list. Let's go to the bucket list here where remember it put them in like 30, 0 to 30, 30 to 60, 60 to 90. So that's what we want to look at. All right, so let's get rid of these. And probably the 60 to 90 and 90 to 120 days would be the better route for us on that. Okay, so they kind of shrunk it down there. Question from somebody. All right. So days since last payment, 100 days, 85 days, 64 days on this stuff. Let's add another bucket to it because we've got some here. 120 plus days is probably going to take out. Oh, it didn't just bad. No. What am I missing here? What do I have checked off here? Something filtered here. I think that's not accurate. Oh, here we go. Service completed. Yeah, nope, that's right. They've all. Oh, well, let's select. That's weird. Okay, so I selected all. I've got something selected on one of these date filters. I'm trying to remember what I have here. Pardon me, guys. I'm flipping back through this tape. So we got stuff in states. Okay, great. Did I pick, oh, occupancy? Did I pick current occupancy? Let's look at that. That's probably what I've got here. No, current occupancy is all selected there. That's good. Maybe it is. Maybe the rest of these are all in that 120 plus days process. Let's look at one more thing here. That's our bucket. That's our last payment bucket, which is what we want. Okay, that maybe it's just it. Okay, so now that we have that, if we look at the P&I payments on these things, if you're going to be using your own money, you can pick whatever you want. But on some of these, why am I? That's so strange. Select them all. Okay. There we go. Oh, I know what I did. I selected a different payment. Okay. So we go back to our P&I payments. There we go. That's what we want to do. So we can get rid of, select them all, but we want to get rid of $52, $66, anything really under $250 a month. Just not going to be worth your time. All right. That's better now. Okay. So now we've gotten rid of the low P&I payments. All right. Now, let's look at the states that we want to own in and we don't want to own it. Now we can narrow this list down by states. That'll help. All right. So the states we don't want to own in. Let's see here. So we know we want to get rid of, let's get rid of Wisconsin. Property taxes there will kill you. We want to get rid of New York, New Jersey. Remember, we're looking for cash flow. Okay, so not necessarily foreclosures. Okay, so get rid of New Jersey, New York. So we got Alabama. Let's get rid of California. That's gonna be a pain in the ass. Connecticut, no. We'll leave Florida in there for the time being. Georgia, yes. No for Illinois. Yes for Indiana. Get rid of Louisiana. We'll leave Minnesota in there because Dale's on. Let's get rid of Vermont. We'll leave Texas, obviously, South Carolina, PA, Oklahoma, Ohio, Maryland, Kentucky. We'll get rid of Kentucky. They're pain in the ass. Indiana, Georgia, Florida, Delaware. Okay, that's probably a good starting point. Okay. All right. Now, if we want cash flow, then we obviously don't want vacant properties, right? We want to get rid of the vacant ones. So we basically want to do owner or unknown. There we go. Now that shrink it down to quite a bit of less stuff. Okay. All right. So now we go over here and figure out our equity aspect of things. So, all right. So same thing. If they've got an equal, so it's going to be equal to latest proper value minus the legal balance. I probably should just run those formulas down when I first had them, but oh well. Okay. I wouldn't have to be doing that right now. I just missed a step, but it's easy enough for me to go back here and fix. Okay. Same thing. We're gonna run this down for this. We're going to format these cells. Currency, and then the dollar amount. Hit OK. All right, so these all have equity. Okay. All these have equity. The least amount is 27 for 18. Yeah, so they all have equity. So that makes it an easier calculation for these, right? Equity. So the offering on these, since they've got equity, would be 80% of the UPB, or the full legal balance. Sorry, legal balance, so that's what's owed, because that's what we subtracted. So there's still equity above what's owed. Okay, so it's going to be estimate legal balance times 0.8. Okay. It's a dollar amount. See, like this one only owes $8,000. I would get rid of that. We could go back and get rid of the small balances, but for the sake of it, let's just go ahead and keep it in there for the time being, because we'll copy the formula down for these cells. All right. So there's our offering. Let's insert another column in here. And this is going to be our 12-month cash flow. Let's do another one. Would be 16-month cash flow, because remember, they haven't paid in a while. We want to start making more than a little bit than the normal. Okay, so 12-month cash flow is equal to their P&I payment times 12. All right, so some of these have been modified. So let's look at this. So like this is their current P&I payment. This one hasn't paid in a while. So it's 443.61. All right, so let's go over here. So let's pull their current P&I payment, because it's been modified. Some of these have been modified. So what their modification number is. Original payment, and we're going back here. Well, all right, sorry guys. It's equal to there. Oh, there it is. Okay, well, just multiply that times 12. Okay, we're gonna change this to dollar amounts, not dates. This is gonna be the same thing as equal to their P&I payment times 16 months. Perfect. Okay, dollar amount. Now we're gonna say insert 2 columns. This is gonna be 12-month reinstate for ROI, 16-month reinstate ROI. So basically, we're just to be taking is the 12-month is equal to 12 months of cash flow divided by what our offering is. Boom. Okay. And same thing for 16 months. So take 16 months of payments divided by what you offered up. And there you go. Now, of course, these are going to be high because they only owe $8,000 on this one. Okay. So it doesn't really make sense to own this property. I mean, there's no, we can take this off. But what we're going to do, because we want to be smart, is we're just going to copy down the payments. Same thing down for this. And then we can do the formulas for the ROIs. So basically what this means, all right, excluding this one up here, basically if you're paying you're paying the 80 cents on the dollar for these, and you're going to make 12 months of payments, the ROI is going to be anywhere from like 5% up to, like 43%. And this one only runs with 11, so I would get rid of that one probably too. Okay. But here's some of the ones that you can identify. Oh, this one's got small balance. Actually, this one doesn't have a small balance. They got 63,000 equity. Oh, they only owe, this value's only at 69. Never mind. So this is why you'd want to get rid of the small balances, because it kind of throws off your ROIs on these things. But like this one, 18% interest, that's not so bad. Let's look at these numbers. So they owe 189 is what the valued at. They may only owe, what's that, 45? Yeah, you're making an offer at 40. That might not be bad. Where's this located at? All right, so this one, it is located 101 Northeast Schoolhouse Lane, Mayo, Florida. Mayo, Florida. All right, let's go take a look at it. It's kind of, can't tell if it's a single wide or double wide out on the tract of land. 1,233 square foot house, built in 1974. It's on a 1 acre lot. Okay, let's go back and do one other thing to it. Let's click on the aerial. All right, so Schoolhouse Lane. This must be Schoolhouse Lane here. Yeah, there you go. So that's basically what it is. It's like it's a single line, I think. See, it's weird. It might be a single family home. It looks like it's a mobile home, but it doesn't look too bad. So that could potentially be, I mean, obviously due diligence, but if you go back to your tape, look at this way. So can we agree the bar probably doesn't want to lose their house? If they only owe William and Billy Dieter, that's funny. Reminds me of the old Sprocket. So it's active foreclosure was just started in May. All right. They owe 50 grand on this deal. Okay. The last payment was September of last year. That's not necessarily, they're behind by a year. Okay. That doesn't mean they maybe couldn't come to the table. It could potentially be a decent mod if you allow them to restate. Don't know what happened to them. Find out what happened in the case file, why they started falling behind. But they're at a 4.6 interest rate on an acre of land. It's worth 189. Hell, you could actually, if they're both over 62, maybe they go get a reverse mortgage to refinance you out. I know that's what you're trying to do with that Round Rock one. Okay. So yeah, you buy it at 40. Yeah, I mean they only owe 50 and some change, but that could still be a decent little return for a cash flowing asset. They bring 16 months to the table, they start paying on time and bring 4 extra payments. That's roughly a 24% cash and cash return in year 1 for you. And then every year after that, it's basically an 18%. That would be a pretty good little deal there to look at. That makes sense. If they don't pay, then you foreclose. You don't make that much if you sell at the auction. Guess what? If you don't sell it, now you have a $190,000 property in this area of Florida. Let's see where Mayo, Florida is at. I don't know. Is that out in the middle of the boonies? Probably. I don't recognize it. Let's take it out here. Mayo. All right. So it's, and of course I've lost my spot. Okay, there we go. There's our red dot. That's better. Okay, so you see it's kind of up there in the panhandle. South of Live Oak. Okay. It's not like in your desirable areas of like Jacksonville or a major city, but it is, you see, it is on, it's not out in the boonies. I mean, Mayo is not the biggest of cities. How many people live in Mayo? Oh, it is a small. Well, if you want some quiet, there you go. 1,100 people might be a little too small for you, but maybe you know, yeah, that might be an interesting one to make an offering on. All right, let's look at another one on here, and then I'll let you go for the rest of the day. And we'll dive deeper into these tonight on the webinar. All right, so we got a 13 yield, let's look at this 15 yield down here. 15 and 21. And this is located where? All right, Hemingway, South Carolina, 1 Dogwood Court. Okay. Now, what do they owe? Let's see here. Let's look at our numbers. They filed bankruptcy originally, and it was dismissed. They filed bankruptcy 20 years ago. All right. So their value is at 154. They only owe like 40. Yeah. They owe 40,000 and some change. Okay. So if you ordered at 80 cents a dollar, 31,000. Okay. Let's see what it looks like, shall we, everybody? On the outside. All right, 1 Dogwood Way. Let's see what this street view looks like. Okay, so South Carolina. I cul-de-sac a little bit there. That doesn't look too bad, huh? This picture is from August of 2023. This one's from February 2023. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look too bad at all. I mean, need a little bit of work with the shutters, but that's cosmetic. Let's go back to the spreadsheet. Now, this is supposed to be occupied, so all right. Owner occupied. Look at taxes owed. Let's see how many people live in Hemingway, South Carolina. Let's go back to do that again. Sorry. Oh, this is even a smaller town, 472. Okay, let's see what Hemingway is near. Oh, it's near the coast. Okay. It's south of Florence. Okay, so it's about an hour. No, no, no. It's about 20 miles east, sorry, west of Conway and Myrtle Beach. Okay. Yeah, it's on the outskirts there. Let's look and see what the property is on. Is it on an acre? 13,925 square foot house, 3 bedroom, 1.5 bath, 1325. Does it give us any information about the property? It's on a third of an acre, 3/10 of an acre. Okay, built in 1970 originally. It's probably been updated a little bit. But the thing going back to, like I said, you never buy a note on a house you don't want to end up owning. Okay. These might be a little too rural for it, but they also might be pretty good little deals. Worst case, if you're buying both of these at 40 each, roughly, is there enough equity there if you don't sell it at the foreclosure auction that you could hold on to it for a little bit? Yeah, you could do that. Maybe market it, offer up owner finance yourself, create a note if you want to. That's your decision. All right. They're not very big of an area, but that could be potentially Decent. Now let's look at this one here. Well, this one's in San Juan. Let's look at this one. This one's down in equity's got a little bit, so they owe 80. Yeah, this one in Texas might be a little too small in San Juan. Hidalgo County. Because everybody likes Texas, right? If you get a fast foreclosure, it would speed up your ROI. So that might be possible. Take a look at it. Okay. So this one, 1318 Coconut, Palm Avenue in San Juan, Texas. Yeah, I've looked at it. So you've got this was taken from January of last year. Obviously got some pride of ownership. You got some emotional equity. You know, it's January, so they got the Christmas lights up there. They got the covered patio. It's yeah, see, it's yeah, San Juan. This is a pretty normal San Juan in Hidalgo County. Let's do this. Let's look at the map on this thing. Of San Juan. So they got a Mercedes-Benz dealership. It's an older area. San Juan, what's it near? Oh, down South Padre Island by Reynosa. Okay, it's down by the border. Yeah. That's the border right there, Reynosa. Matamoros, Harlingen, Mission, Texas. Okay. I mean, it's kind of the hood there in San Juan. Yeah. Let's just drop my little guy there in the corner. There you go. But you got some pride of, I mean, you got somebody that wants to stay in this house, probably is better, willing to better. They got family there that could take over the payments. Yeah, I mean, they're worse. They're all ready for Christmas. All right, we'll look at one more, just because Peter asked nicely. The one in Palm Beach, did you say, Peter? See, this one in San Juan you could foreclose on pretty fast because it's Texas here. Now they filed bankruptcy back a few years back. Texas is a faster foreclosure state. So yeah, we don't have the legal aspect of this with being a non-judicial state. So you could foreclose on that thing. If you bought it at 40 and sold it for, you sold it at the auction, you'd make some quick money and it could be a pretty good ROI. Yeah, that wouldn't be one worth pursuing. Okay, so Palm Beach County, talking about this one in Boca Raton, Florida. All right. Boca Raton. 6316 Pond. Okay, so let's look at the numbers on this first. Latest property value is 740. Oh yeah, okay. So they got about $300,000 in equity on this thing. Your offering's at 356. Okay. 80 cents on the dollar. That would not be a deal you'd want them to modify and start making payments. You would want to probably foreclose on this one. Your offering's at 356. They started the foreclosure in April, so it's about you're about 8 months through it. Okay. They modified this to a 40-year mortgage in December. You see 62, modification date 12/1/22, 120 days. So they haven't made a payment since January 2024. 10 months. Estimated legal balance is 450. Okay, so 445, give or take, probably closer to 460. And you bought it at 356. You'd make about 90 grand on the deal. It sold at auction. By just getting paid off in full, which is not bad. There are worse things. I would definitely want to look. Yeah, I would want to look and see what's going on with this thing. Mordecai Wooliganer, the borrower's name. Let's look and see what it looks like. 6316 Apple Pond Road. My apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur. The whole investors were looking at her. She hit the floor. Next thing you know, Shorty got low, 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 low returns. All right, let's take a look here. There's not a picture, so it's probably gated. Yeah, it's a gated community. It's got a pool. Can we drop our little squiggly guy? Nope, can't drop our squiggly guy in there. All right. So yeah, I mean, nope. Whoop. So let's go back and see if we can find some images on this thing. 6316 Pond Apple Road. So there's the pool in the background. Oh, yeah. I love it. I love it. We have the old photos of this one from when it was listed still showing. Okay, so this is good. Last sold on March 2017 for $490. All right, so there you go. I like this when you get current. This is a couple years old. There's the screenshot view, overhead view of the pool. That nice Italian tile, marble. With something like this, when they got really nice upgrades into it, you'd hope you wouldn't have to do a lot of work to it. Just some cleanup. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay. The thing you just got to worry about this one, like I said before, would be the insurance on it and time. If it didn't sell at the foreclosure auction, then you're taking the property back. Now you've got a lot more equity. But you're probably going to have the borrowers fight you on this one. You know what I mean? Because if they've got a ton of equity, go back to our spreadsheet here. Yeah, they got $300,000 in equity. They're going to fight you for that. Now, same thing. Depending on how old they are, could they go do a reverse mortgage and get you refinanced out? Yeah, they could if they're old enough. Let's do that real fast. So let's go over here let's try different website to see if we know how old these people are. So I like to go to whitepages.com and log in. Yeah, there's probably an HOA on this. Yeah, insurance is going to be at least 10 to 15K a year, but that's just the thing to keep in mind. So, and let's see if we can't. And this is what Palm Beach. It was Boca. No co-borrower. Oh, wait a second. So he's in his 20s. Well, you little sneaky devil, you. He's in his 20s. So he's not doing a reverse mortgage on this one for sure. Shall we look at one thing here real fast? Let's do this. Let's see if he's on LinkedIn. Lakewood, New Jersey, demolition at home wreckers. Okay. Well, so maybe this is investment property, demolition, home wreckers. Okay. Who knows? Maybe that'll work. Let's just do a general Google search. Oh, so he's got a suit against the Pond Apple Maintenance Association. Yeah. Right here. Okay. Oh, Rabbi. Nope, that's not the wrong. That's a different guy. 1895. Sorry. He's 26 years old. Okay. Okay. There you go. 26-year-old has a house. He's not paying. All right. So Cal says the ones with a ton of equity are always perplexing for me. If I am borrowing pretty expensive private money to buy the note, I don't want them to go into bankruptcy or fight the foreclosure via their attorney for endless amounts of time. I get that. That's why with these, Cal, you probably got to look at holding the money, holding it for 2 years at least, and that's why it's got to be. It's got to really make sense. When somebody's got a ton of equity, and if they can afford it originally, they usually have friends that will drag it out, drag it out. Making an offer on something like that until you can see what the legal process is, what's going on, what has been filed. They're not paying their HOA. Okay. Now the thing about here's something that you could look at too. If an HOA forecloses subject to the first lien, okay, they take over the property. That doesn't mean they wipe out you. In Florida, they will not wipe out a first lien. So if an HOA forecloses, they may not necessarily want to go ahead because then they got to start paying the first lien. Otherwise, they can get wiped out too. So what we saw this happens in condos, HOA forecloses out the borrower on a condo association lien. We could still go in and foreclose. That what would happen with condos, they would just go put somebody in and rent it month to month, or put people into a 12-month lease and rent it and make money back that way, waiting for the lender, in this case you, to foreclose and wipe them out, and you go that route and you're good. Okay. But something like this, yeah, you got to make dang sure that you're going to get paid something good. So something like that. Let's look at that real fast here on our offering there in Palm Beach. I mean, it's a nice looking property, obviously. They bought it in 2017. So about 9 years ago. So bought it in 19. Hmm. If you're borrowing at 358, you're really going to have about 70 grand if you have to hold on to it for 2 years. You're paying it. Yeah, 356 times 12. Let's just say 365. 365 times 0.12. That's at 43 times 2. So 87,000 in attorney fees if it doesn't go to foreclosure. Now, it would make sense if it didn't sell at the foreclosure auction. 356. Yeah, you break even on a foreclosure sale. You might actually end up owning a little bit. It's your full estimated legal balance here. $445. 445. Yeah, see, you basically break even, right at break even, but you would make a chunk of money if you didn't sell at the foreclosure auction. 294. So you go from breaking even to making some money. Now, something like this, yeah, I mean, they're going to want to fight you for that at 374. Yeah, that's a tough one. Unless you're local and you got the money and you're willing to tie it up for a while. And on this one, they haven't started the legal on it either. So you're going to be into it for a year or two, probably at least. Yeah, well, now service was filed in August, so they've served him. So it's going through that process now. So 3 months, you should have some sort of update. It's worth going into, I guess, too. Maybe if you want to make an offer and see what it goes. You know what I mean, Peter? So Any other questions before we guys let you go for the day here? I know we've covered a chunk here for you guys, kind of getting a preview of the pool, to getting some of your questions answered. I mean, there's some opportunities in this tape for sure. And I think you guys are, we gave you this tape to take a look at. You want to make some more look see on this stuff. We'll do a little bit deeper dive tonight, diving into some different assets, diving into some different properties, and go on that route. Okay. Question from somebody here. All right. Good stuff, everybody. Well, hey, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Hopefully this Money Monday got you rock and roll. We're seeing more tapes like this, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to be, it's always nice when the lender reaches out to you and say, hey, would you take a look at this? You want to make some offers and go from there. And you guys being either coaching students or being part of the WC and crew, you guys get access to that. So that's one of the great things about it. So any other questions, SK? Sterling, do you have any questions? Nope. All righty. Well, we'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. Central for Note Night in America, and we'll do a deeper dive then. So have a great day, everybody. Don't work too hard, and we'll see you at the top.